Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades and welcome back. And what are we getting into? Yous already know what we're getting into. We're getting into Love is Blind series 2. We are now on episode 4. I'm catching up as I mean to go on because I am definitely finishing this series because these people are messy as hell. That's all I'm gonna say right about now. So we left off where we go back to Anu and Patrick and they're having a chat basically. So Anu's sitting there wanting to sing this song to Patrick. Patrick ain't feeling it just about now. So he's saying he's going to follow his spleen. Yeah. He needs to follow his intuition and be true to him. So he gracefully bowed out and broke up with Anu basically. I'm gonna have to say is I don't know why Anu is so upset by this. I really don't know how she could not see that coming, because I saw it coming from a mile off at the end of the day, because them two weren't gelling together from jump, to be honest. I think it was necessarily just literally face value type of thing with these two, even though they had their chats, they had their discussions, yada yada yada. I just didn't see that full-on connection with them two at all. Literally Anu is sitting there like literally blotting because she's absolutely confused as to why they've got the where they've got to, because she believes they had a good connection. And I'm like, I don't understand how you believe that you had a good connection when over the past couple of days your connection and your alignment has been piss poor, to be honest with you. And even she brought it up, because I honestly believe that Anu is more upset about saying bye to the ring and the possibility of getting married to someone than losing Patrick at the end of the day. So he basically said that if he was there, he would have put his arm around her, and sorry that he couldn't get to hear her sing. I'm just nonplussed by these two, because these two were not connecting. Like, for me, as I said from jump, they were not connecting in the slightest. I didn't see that type of connection that I would hope to have seen between these two anyway. So basically Patrick is saying that his spleen didn't tell him anything, or didn't say that Anu was the one. I'm just like, dudes, I literally just can't with this man. Like, literally just can't. So you based your decision off the fact that you didn't get a tingle in your spleen. Like, is this your little spidey senses doing what it should have been doing, but your spidey senses are broken at the end of the day? He basically says that him and Anu never really got to open up to the core, but as I said, they were not connected in that way, and no one aligned in that way. To me, I just felt that they were going through the motions and playing with it, to be honest with you. Basically, Anu was sitting there talking to the camera, upset, and she's saying that she and Patrick were so in tune for what they wanted for the future. I was like, mate, there were hurdles from the first inning between you two at the end of the day. I don't know. I don't know what Anu's talking about. I really couldn't tell you what she was talking about at this point at the end of the day, because she sat there really believing that her and Patrick were in sync, because it got to the point where Anu is literally blaming fear on Patrick's part. Fear in terms of what it is that he was supposedly feeling for Anu. And I'm kind of thinking there might be a little bit of the Lulu going on here with Anu, to be honest with you, because I ended up getting my answer, because when she went to speak to the girls and she was a little bit upset, she said like she really wants to be married, she really wants to be with someone, and she feels mentally that she's there. And this is why I said all she wanted was that ring and that proposal. That's what she wanted, to at least say that she is someone's fiance. If they manage to get married, then it'll be like, I'm wifey, basically. That's the vibe that I was getting from Anu at the end of the day. So we see Jed, he's all about Bara, and we know that he's now going to go in and ask Bara to marry him. Jed tells Bara full force that he's falling in love with her and did ask him to marry her, and she said yes. So now we have Bara and Jed, and I'm excited for this couple. I really am. I'm just hoping that it won't fuck up for them, like seriously. So then we get to see Megan and Kieran meet. I'm not sure about when they did their first looks with each other, because to me it came off as kind of lukewarm, more so from Kieran's side. And it just felt like he was overacting a little bit in the way that he was making these grandiose gestures to her. I mean, Megan's stunning. Megan was stunning when them doors open, and she's the one who more so grabs Kieran and keeps dragging him in for kisses rather than the other way round. So he does go down on one knee again and asks her to marry him. Of course, we all know she says yes. I must say that for me, that meet and greet, there was just something missing for me. I think Megan probably likes Kieran more than he likes her, but I'm not sure. Kieran says all the right things, but I don't know. Maybe it was just nerves on their part and on his part at the end of the day. But I just don't know. Something just was not connecting with me. So we see Damola, and he is in the men's quarters, and basically he has got his vows together to ask Katisha to marry him. And I'm just like, he needs to hold his horses just a little bit, because Katisha hasn't even locked it off with Javin yet. And that's what's making my ass clench. It made my ass clench all the way through that bit, because I wanted Damola to win. I really did want him to win. And I just thought he's going to put himself out there, lay his heart out there for it to be smashed to smithereens by this girl at the end of the day. I was like, I'm holding out hope that she's going to make the right decision, because it sure as hell ain't Javin for her. It really isn't. So Javin is speaking to the cameras, and he's talking about how he feels strongly about Katisha, but he is not there to play second best to anyone. I'm like, mate, you already put yourself in that position. You already put yourself in that position, because at the end of the day, Katisha has made no decisions on who she actually wants. So we will see what decision she is going to make. So you see Damola go out and go to the pods to go date Katisha. You see Javin also go to the pods to go date Katisha. And I thought, oh Lord, it's not going to bode well. It really is not going to bode well. So Javin is there saying he's only stayed there, because he was all set to leave, apparently. Bullshit is what I say. But he wants to give Katisha a chance to express herself. And I thought, no mate, what you want to do is twist up this girl's head. That's what you want to do, because if it were true in what he was saying, and he had an inkling that this girl was gonna pick Damola and not him, he would have left. He would have bowed out gracefully. But oh no, not Javin, because you know what, he likes a competition. He does like a competition. So Javin wants to know, basically, before he speaks to her, if Katisha is invested as he is. I was like, mate, what? I was like, this gal dumped your ass and you've managed to finesse your way back in. That's how it was. He has all the audacity in saying if anything were to move, she would have to propose to him. And it's this part right here. Why this man irks me so much, because he only wants her to do that so then he can show Katisha, like, if you want me, you gotta fight for me, in essence. So it's a power play for him at the end of the day. I don't necessarily really believe that he wants Katisha, but what he wants to do is win out from Damola at the end of the day. So now Katisha says she's made a decision. I was like, you better pick Damola, my girl. You better pick. After you done put him through all of that, and after you done told him not to worry, that you will not change your decision, and then you let this man come in and twist up your ass head, you better make the right decision. That's all I was thinking, So then Katisha goes into the room, and you could see straight off the bat that she was not expecting Damola to be in the room at all, because as soon as he said it's Damola, she was like, her whole face just dropped, and I thought, oh bitch, please. I just thought, here it goes. So Katisha starts talking about like her other connection, and basically I was just like, yeah, your other connection, the one you was meant to dump, The one you're meant to dump. Let's not forget that at the end of the day. So saying something about your other connection right now is a slap in Damola's face, for real, for real. So she said she went with her gut. Yeah. So in essence, this gal is breaking up with Damola, which wrong decision. It's wrong decision, but you know what? Make her go on and do what she need to do. Okay, make her go on and make she think like she made the right decision when we all know she didn't make the right decision. Yeah, she went with her tried, true, and tested. Yeah, the ones she always go for. So Damola rightfully says that he was in shock and asked her why, because when she left that room, she told him her decision wouldn't change. I was like, mate, I'm with Damola all the way. I am with Damola all the way. So she lies to Damola, doesn't she? Katisha says we get on so well, as in her and Damola, but the romantic connection was not always there. Again, I call bullshit. I honestly call bullshit on that. Katisha needed to be honest and say Javin is what she's used to and Damola is not. At the end of the day, she's not used to a man expressing themselves in the way that Damola expressed himself to her. At the end of the day, she's used to the dickheads like fucking Javin who don't really have the depth of a fucking what can I say, a succubus. They really don't have the depth of a freaking succubus. Yeah, and all he will do is keep putting her to the freaking back burner until she learns her rotted lesson that she picked the wrong man at the end of the day. But you know what, it's gonna be a lesson that she gonna have to learn and feel at the end of the day. So I'm just like, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen when you're going to realize that you picked the wrong person. Let's just put it this way. I mean, Damola was all ready to get down on one knee. Literally ready to get down on one knee. And all she has to say is, don't think I don't care about you, as that is not true. That's what she said to Damola. I was like, what? What? Because if you honestly cared about this man, you would not have made the promise that you made to him when you walked out to that room the first time around. Yeah, you wouldn't have then walked into the room with Javin the first time around, all set to dump this man because you were doing the words to dump this man. Let's not forget that she was telling this man that her connection is stronger with Damola than with him, and he managed to twist up her head. Let's not forget that at the end of the day. All I will say is that I believe that Katisha led Damola straight up the garden path, and she will regret her choice. She really will. She will. So Damola basically said that he was blindsided by Katisha, and he then went back into the lads' quarters and told the guys what happened. And even the lads were questioning what happened, and like they were shocked that this gal made a U-turn over freaking night. Because that's what she did overnight. She made a U-turn. Yeah. So they're asking why she went with Javin. How? What happened? And even Damola couldn't even explain what the fuck happened, because we don't even know what the fuck happened. Like, we just watching it for real, but we don't even know what the fuck happened. So even Cal said to Damola, because he's quite close to Damola, that he didn't sit right with him at all in terms of what Katisha just did to him. And I'm like, it didn't sit right with me either, love. She let that man finesse her backside, let me just put it that way. So Katisha said, like, in her video, like, her heart does not sing as high for Damola as it does for Javin. I was like, bitch, please. Like, bitch, please. So all that angst back and forth in terms of you've got strong connections with Damola and with Javin, and the fact that you told Damola you wouldn't change your mind, you went back into the girls' room and said to them you're gonna pick Damola, was all lies. It was lies at the end of the day, because she should have went with Javin from the jump. If that's how she felt, I would have had more respect for her in that process if she'd have done that, to be honest with you. I can't even be happy for her, to be honest. Me can't be happy for her at the end of the day. I really can't. So she goes in to see Javin. Javin said, like, he felt he may have went yesterday. I thought, mate, stop your lies, because you know you weren't going nowhere, because at the end of the day you was going to compete for this girl. Let's just put it that way. You wanted to win out from Damola, and you know what, it worked. Yeah, damn mouthpiece, it worked at the end of the day. So he's happy he's won out. Yeah, he didn't even plan a proposal to this girl. That's how back to this man is. didn't even plan a proposal to this girl, and coming in the room, yeah, saying these bars that were absolutely freaking shit. And I was like, Katisha, for real, she's lapping this up like nobody's business. And I'm like, her bars in hell, man. Like, seriously, her bars in hell, because the shit that he just said just made this gal giddy. Like, made her giddy. At the end of the day, he just said a whole lot of words and a whole heap of nothing. So he asked her to marry him and she said yes. I have to say props to Damola though, because at the end, when Javin came in and made it known that, you know what, he's engaged to Katisha now, yeah, he gave Javin a bro hug. At the end of the day, he was kind of like, you know what, it's no hard feelings, it is what it is at this moment in time, I just hope it works out for you, sort of thing. So then Javin has to give the whole byplay of the story in terms of how it went down. And this man started work, he went in there ready to end it. Did you fuck? I'm looking for, you know, the part where he said he was going in there to end it. Like, seriously. So he turned around and then he says the story went down, like he got down on one knee like Jon Snow. And I was like, dude, rein your motherfucking neck in. Rein your neck in it, for real, for real. He's there celebrating, you know, knowing full well that some man's heart's just got broken by this girl over fucking night. Come on now. So you see Katisha walk back into the women's quarters and she's trying to play it like her whole world has ended. I was like, you know what? Give up the ghost already. Give up the ghost, yeah. You went for what you wanted and that's what you want. I hope it works out for you, but I know that it's not going to at the end of the day. So Damola says, like, you know, he's the one that jumps up and says, like, we need to celebrate Javin's engagement properly. And this is all while this man is hurting. And that would have taken a lot for him to do. Yeah, so I'm going to say it from now. Katisha picked the wrong man. She picked the wrong man. So then we see Jed and Barda meet. Their meeting was epic. It was like they already knew each other, like they liked each other from the get-go. You can see that connection between them is real, yeah, and I really do hope that they will make it to the end, because I ain't gonna lie, their meet up put a little smile on my face. It really did. So you see Katisha talking, I think she's talking to Barda, and I can't remember who the other person is she's talking to, and she's basically saying that she can see a clear picture and of her future with Javin, and he makes her feel completely different. I was like, mate, you said the same things to Damola, like, and this is why I said, if you were feeling all of this for Javin, you should have picked him from jump. You shouldn't have put Damola through what you put him through at the end of the day. And that's where that's the bit that I just don't like. The shit that she put him through was off. So Katisha and Javin then meet. This man talked about how he was a visual person, yeah, but in essence they did make a connection in the pod. So essentially what he's saying, like, he won't be going for it if she don't look the way that he expects her to look. So it will be connection be damned at the end of the day. So Katisha says that she feels she can see a different side to Javin others have not seen. Mate, what? Really? Yeah. And their first meet was absolute and utter pants. That's all I'm going to say. It seemed like they got excited to see each other, but I don't get the vibes from them. I really don't get the vibes from them. Maybe it's nervousness from Javin's side, but I didn't get that vibe from him at all, that he was full on connecting with Katisha and she with him, because there were full on awkward silences between the both of them. Yes, they kiss, but I'm not sure how much of it was for show at the end of the day. So now we get to the honeymoon. So in terms of the couples, we have Megan and Kieran, Barda and Jed, Ashley and Billy, Cal and Sarova, and Katisha and Javin, and they're all heading to Cyprus. So when they get there, you see each of the couples going, and some of them just seem very, very tight with each other, except for Katisha and Javin. Let me just say this, yeah. So Katisha is in the hotel room, and she opens up this book to show Javin that the flowers he gave her, she pressed in the book. This man picked up the rose that was in the book, and you could tell that it wasn't dried out per se. He picked it up and it broke apart, and I was like, maybe that's a sign. Maybe that's a sign of the things to come between them two, yeah. So now it's going to be how they move forward in their relationships, because majority of them, especially the men, are kind of like thinking, yes, they want to kind of get physical with their people in terms of getting to know them a little bit more, but I'm like, it when it comes to sex, it muddies the water at the end of the day and takes away the focus from everything else. So I think on the honeymoons, they should just concentrate on themselves and their connection and getting to know them that little bit more, rather than putting in fully fledged sex. Let me just put it this way. So you see Cal and Sarova, and you see Billy and Ashley seem to be getting on well with each other. And you see Sarova is definitely taken with Cal. So Cal is basically talking about how he's can't wait to see all the other couples, but he's most excited really to speak to Katisha, yeah. And he feels that Katisha did his boy Damola dirty. Sarova, you see, tries to defend Katisha by saying, well, she kept her cards close to her chest to protect herself. I said, no, love. No, love. If they play the video back, yeah, when you get to the reunion and they play the video back as to what happened in that pod, yeah, you will see the strides this girl did, where she flipped and reversed it overnight, because she already done told Damola that she was with him 100 at the end of the day and then broke that man's heart. So yeah, no, I would not be defending that behaviour at the end of the day. So Cal said, well, basically, why didn't she narrow it down then? Because at the end of the day, you can only get married to one person, which is true. And again, Sarova says, generally, she believes Katisha was torn emotionally. I'm like, at the end of the day, Sarova is going to protect her girl. She's going to protect her girl, because that's the girl that was in the women's quarters that they probably spoke to, built a friendship with, yada, yada, yada. But the way in which Katisha went about picking her choice between Javin and Damola was piss poor at the end of the day. So Cal is basically saying, well, I'm saying I'm going to need some clarity from her as to her decision making, and I don't blame him. So Cal and Sarova spoke about their types. So Sarova said that, Cal is definitely his type. That's what she would normally go for, is the gym-bodied type Asian dude. And Cal did say that Sarova's not his type at all. Like, his usual type, he would date white British girls with blonde hair and light eyes, basically. But he was saying that he's glad that Sarova isn't his type, because his actual type never ever worked out for him. So Sarova sits there after listening to that and starts to worry, because Bara is a gorgeous blonde blue-eyed girl, and so is Ashley. But to be honest with you, I don't even think Cal will go there. I really honestly don't think Cal will go there. So you see Katisha and Javin go on a date, and they're talking about how they felt about each other when they met, like in the pods, and how they get on. And Javin doesn't really give too much away, and Katisha's talking about how he's too cool for school, basically. And he replied, I have never dated anyone with a Scottish accent before. But right now he feels when he was talking to the camera, that it's going to take some time for him to get used to the fact of the significance that Katisha is his fiance. So he's not feeling that right now. He just sees Katisha as his girlfriend right now, and that's rather telling. That is rather telling, yeah, at the end of the day, because it is a bit of a mind twist when you've literally just asked this woman to marry you. You said yes. You don't see her as your fiance. You see her as your girlfriend. Javin is not giving the vibes, and Katisha can't read his cues. Like, honestly can't read his cues. So basically, they haven't said that they love each other, which I think is a good thing for these two. I honestly do believe it's a good thing for these two, because I don't even think there's that type of level of emotional connection between them. I think things definitely changed for Javian when he had to do what he did in order to win out from Damola, and then from when he met her, yeah. So he's basically saying that he's potentially planting the seeds to potentially fall in love. I'm just like, but mate, you ain't even done the bare minimum with this girl. You really ain't done the bare minimum to even show that you're having a healthy connection to her, and vice versa. So we asked Katisha if she had any apprehension coming out of the pods, and basically she just said, well, when I saw you, I just relaxed. That doesn't answer the question for me at the end of the day, and I just think these two are just literally aligning on surface level at the moment right now. I am going to say from now that I would be hella shocked if they made it to the altar at all and said I do's. Them two is giving me client ID vibes. Like, seriously, they are. That's what they're giving me. So you see, Billy and Ashley are getting on fine. They just keep complimenting the hell out of each other, and they've like fully falling into it. So we will see what happens from here on out with them two. You see Barda and Jed have a first date, and they're fully into each other, and Jed is like, he's all for the words of saying I love you, and he's fallen head over heels for her, and she will say I love you too. So you see Katisha is pampering Javian as part of her nighttime routine, basically. And I'm still sat here, well, what is it that you're going to do for her? Because she seems to be doing everything for him, and he had to bugger all for her at the minute. So we get to the next day's shenanigans, and I'm going to say that Katisha and Javian seem very awkward with each other. It looks like someone was kind of putting out, and I don't know, because Javian seems to indicate that him and Katisha may have, like, you know, hit the sheets because they didn't sleep much at all, is what he says. So Javian again has to say to Katisha that, you know what, my bags were packed that moment. Basically saying to her, how was Damola so confident in marrying her? And I'm like, I think you already know the answer to that. That's why you keep saying what you're saying. At the end of the day, Katisha gave Damola that impression. She really did, because Javian would have known that Katisha came into that room to dump his ass, and that was the start of her whole premise. He knew this. That's why he finessed his way back into her head. He messed with that girl's head like no one's business. So for him to sit there and say how Damola was so confident in marrying her, he already knew where that came from. So I don't know why he keeps going on and on and on and on about it at the end of the day. So the couples meet. See, Ashley and Billy get there first, and then Cal and Sarova come in next. Let's just say Sarova was giving the looks when Cal hugged Ashley, yeah, because the words were playing in her head that she is not Cal's regular type. He usually goes for the white, British, blonde-haired, blue-eyed girls. So in came Katisha and Javian, and let's just say I didn't even see Cal greet Katisha at all. He was just staring her down, basically. So in walks Barda and Jed, and again Sarova was hawking Cal. She was giving side-eye like a good one when Cal greeted Barda, yeah. I'm thinking Cal should not have told her he was into blondes and blue eyes at all, because this ain't easy on this girl at all. Cal does say to the cameras like that Barda would have been his type prior to the process. So him being with Sarova, who wasn't his type, is kind of strange. I was like, mate, come on, don't do that. Don't do that. Really don't. Like, he could have kept that to himself, to be honest with you. So he says, at least he says, he does think of Sarova and doesn't want her to be feeling any awkwardness, especially in the fact that, you know what, there are his type within the couples, basically, but she already is. So then Megan and Kieran walked in, and no really issues arising at all. The whole thing was good. They all got to chat, they all got to talk. And you see Ashley speaking to Katisha and Barda, telling that she slipped out the love bomb and how naturally it came out. And I'm like, the L bombs are coming out thick and fast in this show for real, and some people are going to get knocked on their ass real quick. So Katisha talks about her and Javian do not have, like, haven't said those words with each other. And I'm like, that's because they don't have that instant connection. They really don't. So the question is turned to her. She says like it's easy to be swept up in the experiment, but quickly said, oh, but I'm not devaluing what you've said to me, but actually you are devaluing what they've said to you, because at the end of the day, if Katisha is honest with herself, she knows her and Javin are awkward with each other. She knows she doesn't necessarily have that connection with that man, but she's chasing a fucking fairy tale with this man. Let me just put it that way. They don't present as an engaged couple to me at all. Yeah, they're just tagging themselves as boyfriend and girlfriend at this moment in time. She says she wants to be intentional with her words and not say it for the sake of saying it. But you were not intentional with your words when you were saying what you were saying to Damola at the end of the day. And she was, if we go by what her narrative is, was saying what she was saying to Damola for the sake of saying it. So something tells me, yeah, she ain't feeling the closeness. And this meetup has basically showed her what she's currently lacking with Javin in terms of what the other couples have at the moment. So Katisha decides to quickly and promptly move herself and basically go and stand next to Javin. So as she's doing that, Ashley is then chatting behind her back. And basically says that there's couples in here that need to do a bit more learning and exploration when it comes to themselves. So Ashley knows. We be reading between them lines at the end of the day, because she said that she had reservations in regards to Katisha and Javin's relationship. And I was just like, yeah, because we know that she picked the wrong person. They shouldn't be together. So Cal finds himself talking to Bada and Katisha, and you can see Sarova consistently looking over while she's chatting to Ashley. So Sarova does explain to Ashley how Cal said that, like, you know, she's not his generic type at the end of the day, which is making it hard for her. So Sarova like overthinking it. She's basically overthinking it. And she says, as a guarded person, she will more than likely go back into a shell. And Ashley was right in the advice that she gave to Sarova, that you need to be open with Cal and let him know how you are currently struggling with your insecurity around what he's told you at the end of the day. And she says, yes, she will do that, but at the end of the day, she's saying it's a her issue. But if Cal doesn't know that she's upset by what he said, then he cannot correct any behaviours that may set her off. So you start as you mean to go on. At the end of the day, if you're hoping to build this engagement and build this relationship with this person in order to get to the altar and say I do, you literally need to have communication at your first and foremost point of call. Otherwise it ain't going to work. So you see the awkward moment that Sarova decides to move and plonk herself down in the middle of Cal and Bada. And I thought that was a message right there, sir. And Bada was going to move because she felt the awkwardness of it. And Cal was like, oh, no, you can stay. I was like, no, Cal, you should have let Bada go. Because that's what Sarova wanted at the end of the day. Because it just got more awkward from there, because Sarova just became very quiet. So Cal decides to pull Katisha for a chat. He basically said to her that he isn't happy with how things worked out for Damola. And I'm like, you know what, good on him, because it's his boy at the end of the day, and he saw how upset his boy was when he came in. So at the end of the day, there's going to be people in there that have questions about her decision making in regards to what happened. The key thing is will Katisha be honest with them in her answers? And I don't think she will. So he said to her that Damola was so certain that it was going to be him, because Katisha gave him that impression and then went back on her word. So Cal said it was weird that Damola thought it was him and Javin didn't even think it was him. And Katisha says, well, it was a hard decision to make. And Katisha basically said about Damola that it was nothing against him. But I'm like, but it was love. Katisha believes she didn't deserve what Damola was giving her. And I believe that it scared the living shit out of her that a man wanted to treat her in the way that she should be treated. Yeah. So she tossed that over, which could have been a damn good match for her at the end of the day, for someone who literally doesn't have her back. Someone who literally would do her dirty playing games and never give her what she seeks. That's what I can't wrap my head around, because she said she came in to move away from her type, but she went straight to her type. Cal wasn't being gentle either when he was having his discussion with us. He saw through Katisha. Like, really, Cal just says, yeah, Damola did nothing wrong at all. And Katisha didn't know what to say to that. Because she knew Cal was right. She knew Cal was right. And Damola was one of those people who wore his heart on his sleeve. And she took it, she played with it, and she tossed it right back at him at the end of the day. So I'm with Cal on this one. Seriously, I am. So we asked her what made her go the other way. But the thing of it is, for me, is I don't know if it was kind of a protective type of behaviour that she was doing, but she was so blasé. And she basically said, oh, it was down to her connection with Javin being stronger. And I'm just like, but my gal, you directly said to Javin that your connection with Damola was strong and you was all set to dump the man. So what the fuck changed? That's all anybody wants to freaking know at the end of the day. Anyway, this is where this episode ended. I'll be back in quick succession with the next episode. As I always say, my renegades and all those that are coming in, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that notification button so you know when I'm doing videos. Please comment, like, share, and do the good things that you do, because I continue to be on the road to 1K. Peace out.